Those are layers that are, oh, let me do that in a different color, above the Earth. And they are a certain distance, and this is such a layer with information. You can call that, if you want, a morphogenetic field. It's a field that determines how things will be, how this tree is having that basic form, even though every individual has his own variation, right? So this is the potential. And this is what we can call that of what of the potential is realized. So we have the ability to take information here and bring it there. It's one of the tasks that we human beings have. And what is that inducing? That is inducing something that we call a vortex. That is where everybody in Sedona is so hot about, without realizing that they are everywhere in the world. Because the grid systems are everywhere. And everywhere there are places where there is this exchange between what potentially can be realized. And you can say what true human evolution is contributing, I'm saying contributing, to make that happen. And when everybody talks about the shift, I believe that the only way the shift can take place is when these are in harmony. And we have all the opportunity to mess this up in such a way that this exchange is not in the most optimal, and then things are out of whack. Well, as I said, the smaller grids in Western Europe are completely out of whack. That's why there are so many books written about it, and that's why everybody is talking about it, and people make big money about it, because they go and put some copper in the ground, and then they go over that house, but it goes always somewhere, right? And there are two reasons why that happens. And they are very important, because if you realize that, at least we have an opportunity to make changes. One is artificial electromagnetic energies. Very important factor. We have created and are creating so many different energies that are literally not in harmony with the natural systems, that we throw those systems out of whack. And especially what we're doing recently with the Wi-Fi stuff and all our cell phones is disastrous. It's not, I'm not against technology, don't get me wrong. I love my computer and all that kind of thing. But it is also important to realize that the way we are doing it is out of whack. The other thing is, human emotions have a very powerful effect on all those little subtle grids. So if we are in a city where there is a heck of a lot of stress, and human beings are very good, you know, this is a Dutch expression, and Jeanne and I were talking about it, we call them in Dutch stresskippen, which means stress chickens, you know, this chicken, you know, that kind of thing. Well, a lot of people are like that, right? You know, look into the cities, you know, and then I were talking about China. Well, we were in Taiwan doing workshops there. Man, the whole day we were running, and we never run fast enough. It is, you know, what does that do to your system? That throws off those little grid systems that we are living in every day. And what the gift of Sedona was, that as soon as you do measurements out of the town, those grids turns out to be totally in balance. And there was no problem at all. Now there's one good thing. We have the power to bring them back in balance. Even with this. Through meditations, and if enough people do the meditations. The power of intent is capable of changing what we have, let's say, thrown out of balance. So we have been given this gift, and it's our choice to do something about it. I find this very fascinating. If you ask me what's one of the most interesting discoveries over time, is the fact that we begin to understand that we are doing it, throwing it out of whack, but that we also have the ability to change it. And that's our choice. The second group is the group that we will do most of the work with, what I called here the higher subtle energy systems. I have to go back to what we just said about the human energy system. What are our main subtle energy systems? It are the meridians, the chakras, and the subtle energy bodies, right? And they are all interacting and working together in one dynamic whole. You know, that's where all healing and all work is based on that. Yeah? And we have through and go back to that word emotions, our emotions are the one that determine how that system is working and whether or not it will be in balance. You know, the only emotion that truly brings everything in balance is the emotion of love. All other emotions, you know, and that was connected with love, you know, like joy and happiness, abundance, that's all a part of what I call the energy of love. But all the other ones that we experience, you know, like greed and fear and anxiety and whatever, are all variations on one thing, and that's fear-based. And you're only in fear when you're not in love. Yeah? So our biggest challenge is to stay out of that fear-based, because it are the fear-based that I'm talking about when I say it's the human energy that throws it off. It's the fear-based ones. And it's already clear, when we go with intent, we go from our heart, make our connection, so we go to the state of love to rebalance it again. That's the dynamic of human beings. So we are done. This is the dynamic. If you really understand that, we basically understand everything, right? So the subtle are the ones that have a more direct effect on our human subtle energy systems. So when we were trying to give names to the different lines and vortexes that we found, you know, you come up with, yeah, there are words that were used like ley lines, and some people used the word earth meridians, but it never really made sense because nobody was defining it, and it was a mixture of different lines if you went out with people. So we needed to come up with different terminology. That's why we separated in those main groups. So the higher ones were actually for us two main things, and that were those vortexes and lines that resonate with our meridian system, and those, you can almost get at, is what resonating with our vortex system. The interesting thing, and the ones that were yesterday at the Crystal Skull meditation, remember that I said the number 12 will come back. The Earth system is based on 12 meridians. There are only 12. While the Chinese work with 71 meridians, and in acupuncture you work with 14. And for whatever reason, the organ meridians are basically the one flow that goes in 24 hours through our whole body, is, according to the Earth, the only thing that you really need to bring in balance to bring the whole meridian system into balance. So for the Earth, there are only 12. I haven't been able to find any more, and believe me, we tried, but it didn't. Interestingly, when you look at the vortexes, you would expect that there would be 7, right? Yes? Huh? Oh, chakras, sorry, yeah, you're right. After all, they're also vortexes.
I thought he'd get to it eventually, but you're still doing it. Thank goodness for your partner.
You see, now you understand how that works, right? What would I do without her?